International aid agencies donate millions of dollars of food aid to Ghana every year. It's meant to keep malnourished children alive, but much of it is being stolen and sold on the black market. In this edition of Africa Investigates, Anas Aremio Anas hunts down those responsible for taking food from starving babies' mouths.
My name is Anas Aremio Anas. I'm an undercover journalist in Ghana, and I have never revealed my identity to the public. I believe in journalism that produces results. Journalism based on hard evidence that will name, shame, and jail the bad guys. I am here in northern Ghana to bust a bunch of killers. Their business is stealing food from starving children, food donated by the world to save lives. Babies are dying here because of their greed. My team and I have been on the trail of these criminals for months, gathering evidence to break up their deadly trade. We have already discovered something very shocking. The people who are stealing and selling this food are the very ones whose job it is to make sure hungry children get enough to eat. I can't wait to give these guys a taste of my own medicine. Here at the King's Village Health Center in Tamale, northern Ghana, staff are working to protect those most at risk of acute hunger, pregnant women and their babies. Dr. James is the director and has been working here since the clinic opened in 2008. It serves 160,000 people, but children are still dying here due to lack of food.
I would say relatively this is a bit better than the usual cases that...
You want to say this is better?
Yes, so this is relatively better.
Shoshana Mohammed is nearly 3 years old, but is only the size of a 1-year-old. She is severely malnourished and needs oxygen to stay alive. Tozafi is a maize dish in Ghana, but it sometimes doesn't contain many of the nutrients needed for a growing child. The special food they give here is called plumpy nuts and is specifically designed to treat those with acute malnutrition.
About 40% of all under fives in the communities that we sampled stunted and malnourished. It has effect on mental abilities. People go to school and they can't learn, you teach them, they can't understand. If you are malnourished, if you are hungry right from childhood, it affects who you become in the future. It does.
These photos graphically reveal what malnutrition does to a child's body. They show not only the effects of emaciation, but also the blistering that results from a lack of protein and essential minerals. Some children here also suffer at the hands of their own families. There is a lot of ignorance about malnutrition and its causes.
The people here believe that the malnutrition is not actually caused by food. They believe that it's spirits, evil spirits. And for them, sometimes if it gets to extreme, they think that it's not worth keeping the child. So in certain instances, what they do is they get rid of you.
Dr. James and his team have saved over 3,000 babies and young children who would have otherwise starved to death, succumbed to a related illness, or been discarded by their own families due to these cultural beliefs. But the plumpy nut food supplement is only supposed to be the last resort. Poor families are supposed to receive food aid to keep children properly nourished in the first place. This year alone, the World Food Programme collected $20 million worth of food specifically for Ghana, and the quantity supplied has been carefully calculated to meet the needs of the country. The food is supposed to be distributed by the Ghana Health Service. But as we've seen, many children here are going hungry and there are clearly problems in the supply chain. For weeks now, I have been going undercover across the northern region of my country, working with my team to get to the bottom of the shortage in food aid.
They give oil, they give rice, they give corn, they give all those things. Can we get some?
I have been following the supply chain and connecting with those responsible for distributing the food to the local nutrition centers. Somehow, this food seems to be disappearing while young babies and children are dying of hunger. Eventually, we received a tip-off from one of our sources. A man in one of the major towns in the north, Navrongo, was selling boxes of donated food. We managed to track him down. Inside his house, a huge supply of food aid ready for sale. Solomon Sanye works for the Ghana Health Service and is a district nutrition officer. He is supposed to make sure the food gets to those who need it. Instead, he is selling the food to make money for himself. We tell him we want to buy some.
So the 35, the 20 bucks, how much will be?
700.
700.
So this is the order. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wanted to give 6, but I'll still be, there is other one, the blend. I'll still be looking around if I can get some. So maybe ask him when he's ready.
All this food meant for desperate mothers and children, and here this government nutrition officer is selling it to us for private gain.
So I'll go to the other facilities if I can get the blend.
This public servant is only responsible for food supplies coming through this town, but he wasn't alone. We'd heard there were other health facilities elsewhere engaged in this same corrupt practice. Sure enough, in another major town called Bolgatanga, about 45 minutes away, we found another government nutrition officer, a now guy. He was doing exactly the same thing.
2013. I have seen the date of an production date here. 2013.
Now that we had evidence of these people stealing and selling this donated food, it was time to bring in the police and bust these criminals. Inspector Freddy Abua is the Deputy Crime Officer for Ghana, Upper East Region.
This is the evidence of our man, one of them, yes. That's his room. And then that is the food. As you can see,
Yes, super.
Gift of Canada.
Gift of Canada.
Yeah. So, seeing this, is this enough evidence to move forward?
Yes, there is. There is. We have a prima facie case.
Yeah.
Yes. As you are aware, the criminals don't operate in a vacuum. At least they must get some syndicate. Because for all we know, the goods are transported from somewhere to his place of abode. So a lot of people will be involved. So when he's arrested, we make sure that he leads us to his source of supply.
I have been doing these undercover operations for years, exposing crime and corruption. The police here do their best, but they have very limited resources and rarely have access to the type of specialized equipment I use. Over the years, we've formed an effective partnership. Now we are getting to the sharp end of our investigation. My undercover team have told both of our corrupt nutrition officers to expect another visit from us the next day. They have more supplies of food that they are eager to sell us. But this time, they will be getting a major surprise.
The operation is going to be in two folds. One is going to happen here in Navrongo, and then the other one is going to happen in Bolga. Now, the second operation is going to be right after the first operation. We are going to move to Bolga. But knowing the nature of this, our community, we have to be very quiet about it. Because if we are not quiet, we'll end up having the perpetrators picking signals This is the satellite image. We can even zoom in to see exactly what is happening regarding their movement. So everything will be monitored from here. You're going to see how we are moving. You're going to see what we are doing, so that when the arrest is done, it can be done smoothly. Yeah. Now
it was time for one of my undercover team to call the first target. Until now, he had been meeting the nutrition officer on my behalf.
Yeah, I'm here with my partner, the one I'm buying the goose on his behalf.
I'm in the house.
You
in the house.
Okay. Then no problem. We are coming. All right, thanks.
Yeah, men on the ground. Men on the ground. You are going to receive a signal from me when the target is spotted. All should be ready. The moment you get a signal, you should proceed to the spot. Over.
Well, as we speak, everything is in place. The policemen are on the standby. The vehicles are ready. The source is ready, and we're going to move.
The team is proceeding to the target house. They are now on Tumu Navrongo Road.
They are the Mutual Health Center.
The team has reached Mutual Health Center, heading towards the target house. They have passed the police station.
We arrived at the Navrongo Nutrition Center where Solomon, the nutrition officer, was waiting.
I'm in the house.
All was going to plan, except that the food warehouse was locked. Solomon took me to a nearby hospital to meet an accomplice, Mohammed, who had the key. After returning, we started to load our vehicles with the stolen food supplies.
Understand? You understand the salt? Let's take 2.
Meanwhile, I took care of business. The plan was to pay half, then lure Solomon back to the hotel for the rest of the money. We didn't want to cause a scene by arresting him at the health center and potentially alerting our second target in the nearby town. I sat behind Solomon on his bike. My partner was supposed to follow, but then our target seemed to get spooked. He suddenly took a different turning, and I found myself alone with him.
He's gone. He's proceeding to our end, or where? Okay. He's proceeding to our end, to the hotel. Is the driver proceeding to the hotel?
The car has already moved, and he left with.
What is going on?
Ahmed, talk to us. You. Okay, that's it.
I think target is in suspicion.
It's okay.
Are they on the bike?
Yeah, they're on the bike. His bike, but he's in a complete suspicion of what the bike.
So what do you think?
Isa. Okay. We have to track the movement of Isa. They are moving very fast.
They are moving very fast towards the Borgan Abrongo Road. Can the policemen go after them? Yeah.
Okay, call the other.
We are coming.
I had been alone and out of communication with my team for almost 15 minutes, and I was relieved when I saw the police arrive to arrest us.
Okay, now there is another suspect somewhere. Mind you, you are going to speak a language that everybody will understand. Come. Move the car.
Inspector Yabua was intent on arresting Solomon's accomplice, Mohammed. We rushed back to the food warehouse, but he wasn't there. Instead, we found the director of the hospital next door and took her to see what we had bought.
Yeah. Bring the suspect here.
Bring him in.
Madam, but are you sure these are your goods?
We have this type.
We have this type.
They
the
normally
warehouse.
bring some, we offload it here and then send to the hospital. That's where the distribution is done.
Yeah. This one, I bought them from your warehouse. It's
a warehouse?
Here.
Yes.
Just here?
From here?
Yes.
Hey.
You know, Director, we put some here and some at the...
You know the gentleman?
Yeah, we know him.
Is he one of your workers?
Yes.
Solomon is one of your workers?
Yes.
Meanwhile, the police had apprehended Mohammed, the accomplice who had the key to the warehouse.
Did you know we were buying the food or not?
Did I know you are?
You were buying the food or not?
I don't know whether you are buying the food.
You don't know?
Because they said you are coming to pick the thing.
Okay. So when you negotiated with me about the bags of maize that I should pay for, what was that?
2 bags. I said you are. No, he said he's selling things, but I don't know.
So you knew. So you knew he was selling things.
For me, this job was done. But for these two, their ordeal has only just begun. Now, we had a second target to apprehend.
This was indeed a difficult nut to crack. In a long time now, I haven't had a suspect who proved so difficult to be arrested. It took me through a lot. In fact, at a particular stage, I had to say to myself that I was going to self-arrest him. But fortunately, he came in cool and we got him. I just hope that the second one, which is coming on in the next few minutes, won't be this crazy.
In the end, it all unfolded according to plan. Almost. The nutrition officer, an our guy, can be seen here on the left, packing the stolen goods in plain bags to conceal the World Food Programme logos. The bust begins. A police officer fires a warning shot into the air. Out of those arrested, only the nutrition officer was ultimately charged. The others were helpers and didn't know the goods had been stolen.
We want the truth, nothing but the truth.
So at the end of a long day, our 2 raids went successfully, albeit with a little drama. The 2 suspects you see bled were released. The others are awaiting trial. The police told us that this sort of crime is very difficult to detect without inside information, and they need the help of the community to stamp it out.
We cannot tell how widespread maybe this activity is. We only bump on it, depend on the intelligence that we have at hand. So somebody must be able to recognize that this activity going on is a crime, to be able to inform the appropriate authorities to take the necessary action. So with this very good intelligence, which is very timely and accurate, so we're able to get the target. It is going to serve as a very big deterrent to any such people who are involved in such activity.
We have busted the criminals who steal the food aid, but I wanted to find out how easy it is to sell it. We went to one of the main markets in Tamale, the capital town of the northern region of Ghana.
Mammy, yeah, Carapapo, Carapazo.
And I'm in question. And I'm in touch.
But you're not a champion. Take a land nation marathon.
I am Pamo Bizan of the Mitter Bishop Bankala Fiva.
But I think we should have full turns out.
I think you shall Kazana and disturbingly, it looked like this food aid was being sold regularly here and in large quantities.
I haven't done my man, a yellow corn, yellow corn brown. Then got that man. Then I should never rang at the
Mammy, Bibi Bendira, WHO, WF, teacher, teacher, police, and bank. Clearly, the two nutrition officers we arrested were just the tip of the iceberg. Who knows just how much of this food aid is being diverted away from the poor families and children who need it? I decided to go back to the Kings Village Health Center to show Dr. James the undercover footage from our investigation. Yes, Doc, what's your take on the film you just saw?
It's a very unfortunate situation. This is comparable to murder because a lot of people are malnourished and people are dying in their communities. And it is not really the issue of, having seen this, it is not really the issue of the food is not there as I used to think. In this community where we have so many malnourished children, and these people are deprived of what could save their lives, it is crime. It is the highest crime.
So I find it very worrying that all of you are not even able to detect that it's not about food shortage, but then it's because of activities by this syndicate that leads to the shortage.
What you have just shown means that all of us need to be very vigilant, especially with the reporting systems. How much have I received? I need to be able to go extra mile to make sure that at least the directors who monitor the distribution know that I actually received X number if I'm given X number.
Do we need aid? Do we need food as aid?
This is a big question. In the long term, Ghana will not need aid. If we get the people who will think right, who will make sure that what we are producing ourselves is taken care of, we will not. But where the aid comes every time, then it stops us from thinking. It shuts our brains, and then people begin to take advantage. So in the long term, we don't need aid. But in the short term, yes, we do. But the most important thing is how we manage the aid, making sure that the right monitoring and evaluating systems are in place to make sure that what we get is effectively being managed.
Clearly, the Ghana Health Service is falling short on its responsibility to manage these supplies, and the results are tragic. Dr. James told us that Shoshana Mohammed, the 3-year-old girl we saw on our first visit, had died. Another unnecessary victim of this outrageous scandal.